My Vampire Shorts, The Sea of Trees. In the shadow of Mount Fuji, deep in the heart of Japan, there lies a forest so dense and dark, it whispers only the voices of those who have vanished. Aokigahara, the Sea of Trees, is a place that has long been associated with mystery, death, and the spirits that linger in its depths. But the true origin of its sinister reputation lies in a tale far older than any that the locals whisper around their hearths. Long before the forest became a place for the lost and broken, it was home to a man who had once been a warrior, a hero whose name echoed through the halls of Japan's military history. His name was Takashi Mori, a revered samurai from the Sengoku period, known for his skill, his honor, and his unwavering loyalty to his lord. But war, like the seasons, is never kind, and even the mightiest of warriors can fall. The fateful battle that would change Takashi's life forever was fought in a valley surrounded by mountains that loomed over like silent sentinels. His army, outnumbered and outmatched, was crushed under the might of a rival warlord's forces. Takashi fought bravely, taking down dozens of men before he was struck down by a spear, its iron tip piercing deep into his side. His blood flowed freely, staining the earth beneath him as his vision began to blur. He tried to stand, to fight back, but his strength was slipping away, the pain unbearable. In the moments before he succumbed to the darkness, Takashi did what any warrior would do. He ran, crawling, dragging himself through the mud and grass. He sought the only sanctuary he could think of, Aokigahara, the Sea of Trees. It was said that the forest was cursed, that it held spirits of the dead and the forgotten, but it was also a place of solitude where one could escape the world's prying eyes. With the last of his strength, Takashi stumbled into the forest, the trees standing tall around him like silent witnesses to his plight. As he collapsed to the ground, his breath ragged, he thought of nothing but death. But as the darkness of unconsciousness began to claim him, something stirred in the shadows, a presence, ancient and powerful. A voice, low and cold, spoke from the darkness. "You are near death, Takashi Mori, but I can give you life if you are willing to pay the price." The voice was not human, nor was it like anything he had ever heard. It was the voice of something older, something that had witnessed the rise and fall of empires. Desperation gripped Takashi's heart, and he knew that without this strange offer, he would die a coward's death, his body abandoned on the forest floor. "I will do anything," Takashi gasped. "Give me life. I do not wish to die this way." From the shadows stepped a figure, its form shifting and indistinct, like smoke given shape. "Very well," it said, and with a movement faster than his dying eyes could follow, the figure touched his chest, where the wound still bled. The sensation was not pain, but cold, unnatural cold, that seeped into his bones and spread through his veins. "You will live, Takashi Mori, but in exchange, you will belong to me. Your soul will be mine, and your death will never come." Takashi's heart thundered in his chest as the deal was sealed. His breath caught in his throat as the cold spread through him, and before his eyes, his blood began to stop flowing. The pain of his mortal wound disappeared, replaced by an insatiable hunger, a thirst he had never known. When he stood again, his body was whole, but something inside him had changed. His heartbeat no longer echoed in his chest. His skin, once warm, had turned cold to the touch. And his soul was no longer his own. He was a vampire. For years, Takashi wandered the forest, hidden from the world. Ashamed of what he had become, he could not bear to face those he had once fought for, his comrades, his lord, his people. The warrior who had once been hailed as a hero now lived in eternal darkness, forced to feed on the very blood of those who stumbled into his domain. The forest, once a place of solace, had become his prison, a reminder of the deal he had made with the demon spirit that had cursed him. Takashi, now known only by the name he had taken in his new existence, Kage the Shadow, became a predator in the Sea of Trees. He lured travelers, wanderers, and the lost into the depths of Aokigahara, where they would never be seen again. His hunger was insatiable, and with every victim, the curse of his existence grew heavier. He would drain their blood slowly, savoring the life that slipped away from them. And once they were lifeless, he would vanish into the trees, leaving no trace of their passing. The years turned into decades, and the name Aokigahara began to take on a darker meaning. It was no longer just a forest. It was the sea of trees, a place where people disappeared without a trace, never to be found. Some whispered that the forest was haunted, others that it was cursed, but those who knew the truth understood the darkness that lay at its heart. Keiga's regret for what he had become twisted his soul, and he became nothing more than a shadow of his former self, hiding from the world he could never rejoin. But even in the darkest of places, the memories of who he had once been lingered. The warrior who had fought for honor, the man who had hoped for a noble death. Now he was nothing more than a monster, forever trapped between the world of the living and the world of the dead. His fate was sealed, and there was no redemption for him. And so the Sea of Trees grew in legend as people began to fear it. Those who ventured too close would vanish, and the trees would swallow them whole. In the heart of the forest, Keig, the vampire warrior, would watch from the shadows, lost in his own regret. He could no longer die a hero's death, and no matter how many lives he took, he could never find peace. The Sea of Trees was his prison and his punishment for a deal made in the desperation of a dying man. And to this day, the forest remains a place of darkness, where the missing are never found. And the name Aokigahara serves as a warning for those who dare to tread too close to the edge. For there, in the shadows of the trees, Keiga still waits, haunted by the man he once was, cursed to live forever as the monster he could never escape. Follow and share for more of my vampire shorts.